Welcome back to the channel. This piece of turd. Anyway, we left off with intake changed. I have now a new gasket for the upper part, which is literally just that section there. We have a new problem, and I feel like I've gone like 20 steps ahead and I'm now taking 50 back. Car's not starting. I tried to move it out the garage. It started this morning because, again, I'm very grateful for all the help that people are giving and all the advice. Some of the advice I'm getting is to check the wastegates, the actuators. Okay, so the noise is definitely coming from that section of the car. I'm convinced it's coming from there. So I'm double checking the actuators to make sure that they're obviously connected and they're moving. Can't get them to move. I started the car this morning and I gave it a bit of a rev. They don't move, so I don't know whether I've got to drive the car for that to move. I checked against another turbo car that has the same setup and that moved on a rev, so I kind of thought that this might be the same. Thought, yeah, we're going to test. I'm going to change the gasket. So laid my bricks to get this car out, and this is kind of a little bit, we had to push it a little bit further back, but I got it started and it just decided to die. And now, for the life of me, it will not start. So I've pulled all the plugs out. They were really black and wet, every single plug. I've cleaned them up with a wire brush, and I've now just done a spark test. I know that you're supposed to do it across all of them. These two definitely have spark. My question is that surely if you've got spark in them, the car would at least kind of splutter, and it doesn't splutter, it's just cranking over. I don't want to crank it too much because obviously of history with this car. I don't know if I'm right in saying that the timing tensioner relies on oil pressure, so I don't want to go too crazy just cranking and cranking. I am genuinely confused with this car, and I'm going to be honest, it's doing my head in. I just want things to work. I'm checking all the vacuum hoses. They all seem to be fine. There's definitely a vacuum hose, and there doesn't seem to be any problems with the vacuum hose that goes to the actuators. So change the gasket. And then I'm going to get some brake cleaner, because that was the other thing everybody's recommending I do. Either some soapy water, brake cleaner, and just spray it on all the joints. When this car was running, the noise, I'm convinced, is coming from around about here. I'm convinced. Intake's off. Gonna try and get this old gasket up. New gasket. I've cleaned the surface up of the intake. I didn't realise there was another plate. With another gasket. So the lower bits, I'm not going to have a new gasket. But I don't think it's gaskets. I don't think that this problem is to do with the intake. I'm personally convinced that noise is coming from down there. One thing I've noticed is that I know that in these hoses, brake servo, you've got a little one-way valve in there, same as the clutch, which is down there somewhere. I noticed the valve is all the way the other end. I mean, is there a way to check that that's the right way around? Because I'm sure I read online that could be the wrong way around and makes a hissing noise. I will try it and see if it changes anything. When I can get this damn thing started again. I'm hoping that with this thing not starting, it went through this phase, and forgive me, don't shoot me down because I'm learning, where it wouldn't fire, we would leave it standing for a few hours and then suddenly it would fire. I'm assuming it would be flooding itself. I'm kind of hoping it's going to start up in the next couple of hours. I know that it's not going to fix the problem of why it's not starting up in the first place, but I need to get the car mobile before we can actually improve it, you know, and improve those situations of why the car could be flooding itself out. All this, and that's probably why, it is start that again. It is why we took it out for a drive a few weeks ago, because all this revving and just starting and revving, it's not going to do the car much good. Even as a novice, I know that. I'm going to put this little gasket on, and then put the intake back on. I have had a look at the intake manifold. In fact, I will give you a closer look before I put it back on. Okay, so the intake's off. It's been several hours, so the lighting might be a little bit different. I've cleaned the surface off with some brake cleaner. Try and ignore that. Yes, it's a DIY. Yes, I know otherwise it needs sorting out. But problem is, never forget that this car used to work, and the only thing it broke on was timing tensioner. Okay, so here's the intake. So be kind, be kind. Let's keep the love in the world. I can't see anything wrong with this, to be honest. That portion there would be in the standard intake manifold, so there technically shouldn't be anything wrong with that. That should be strong. It's these wells down here that we're checking. That one, I can't even see. That one there looks a bit suspect. It's hard to tell. It's a pinhole. And the horrible thing is, it's not like I can spray anything and just make, you know, watch it for bubbling. We can try, but I can't get to this side of it while it's on the car. Licking stuff like that.
You might like putting these mouth round nibbles. COVID-19.
I know. I'm going to be honest, it's the next day, and I'm a tad fed up with this piece of shit. Probably a piece of shit because I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, we're going to have a look at the throttle body again. Under much discussion, I'm going to just change the whole throttle body. The throttle body that I've got, that I showed you before, is going to get some of the little tab things welded up for me quickly. I'm going to just cut a bit of that nipple thing off, and I'm just going to change the whole throttle body.
You're going to cut my nipple off?
We're supposed to be social distancing here, but like nobody's like. There's 2 meters there. There's 2 meters there, and he's going to help. Okay, be kind. Mine's going a little bit mental because like we're stuck in the house all the time. Yeah, I'll actually show you. I have to walk over my weeded garden. We've got all the boys out in their MX-5s today. We've got Dan representing Karuma. He's done quite a bit of work. He's put a rear diffuser on his MX-5. He's put a rear spoiler on. He's painted his wheels. You know, he's put some side skirts on, side skirt extensions. So yeah, he's been pretty busy. So we've got the hairdressing course going on. These two hairdressers with their MX-5. I need a haircut. Have you seen the clip of it? Well. Anyway, thought I'd update you on this shed of a car. Probably a shed of the car because of me being a noob and mechanic and doesn't know what I'm doing. I have Michael here saving the day. Yeah, if you've been following, and you've realised the shit that I've been going on with this car, he's teaching me a few things. And he's teaching me that I don't know what I'm doing.
It's not the fact that you don't know what you're doing, it's just one of them things that I was lucky to even find. Like,
Yeah.
the
Okay,
amount of people
so-
that's looked at this car, Craig, there's nothing that you've done wrong. There's something that somebody else has done wrong.
True. Anyway, so there was a noise coming from predominantly the back of the engine. Now, I've had that intake manifold off more times than I can count. I've had a look at all the vacuum hoses, I've had a look at all the joins. Yesterday I tried to do a makeshift boost leak test, whatever. It didn't go very well. Michael's come to try and a fresh pair of eyes to look on the build and see what is there anything that I've missed. And there's a little bit that I've missed. Now, one thing I have missed is this little thing here. This geezer, you know what I mean? If you look closely at that, I'm going to hold that there for a bit without my mug in the way. I'm going to hold that there. Just have a look at the shape of those holes. Okay. Now this is there between the intake. Well, it's to space the intake because the intake manifold on these cars comes in two parts. That is a DIY homemade space, whatever, saver, whatever you want to call it. Now the reason for that is because the intake has been swapped around. So now your throttle body is on that side of the car as opposed to being on that side of the car. Now because the throttle body is on that side of the car, it's going to foul up against where the timing belt cover is. So that is being put there to clear all that. Okay, which means that there's two gaskets. There's one on either side of that, and I only changed one. I will confess that now. I only changed one. We've cleaned it up. Michael has spotted that there's a few places that it could have been leaking out of the old gasket that I haven't touched. When we've been looking at the gaskets, Michael has spotted.
I've tightened them up.
Okay. Michael has spotted, and these are things that I probably should have spotted. Okay. But please be kind to me because I'm learning as we go along. Has spotted that these are a little bit loose. I think it was 3 out of all of them was loose.
Now it's tight.
The other thing that's cool is that he's teaching me a technique of how to tighten studs up. Because I would not known how to do that. Or had the common sense. I really hope that this works. I really do. I really hope that noise disappears and I hope that this car boosts. Okay. I am still waiting on the replacement map sensor. That's coming all the way from New Zealand. With this whole lockdown stuff, it's probably going to be several weeks before that even is posted out. I think what's going on with this car with that idling stuff, I think that's map sensor orientated. The reason why I'm changing the map sensor is because that's the only thing that manipulates and changes the idle on this car. When you unplug that sensor, the idle changes for the better, it smooths out and it runs mint. I've never driven it on that, I'm not going to drive it on that, I'd rather the map sensor be in. This whole boost leaking thing is probably that.
I wonder if they've put them out a bit to...
The only thing I'm worried about is they're sticking out enough to bolt.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So that one's really fucking loose, like it's starting to get tight there.
But surely they're better tight than they are loose.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Well, let's just try it. Tighten them all up and let's try it. Jesus. That's gone all the way to the bottom.
See, the plenum's not going to fit then.
Aye.
You know what I mean? I'm just going to leave it so it doesn't wobble. Maybe you look at getting some extended bolts. So all of them come out the top, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe get some extended bolts because these are tight now. Them ones, it's just these two side ones.
Okay.
So I'll put that one to the. Not that I like doing it, but that's all I'm doing. So I wonder if you do have to change them studs, the longer ones, if you change the planning.
Maybe. If we connect all this back up and tightening the ones that can tighten up and maybe doing a double gasket trying to see if that changes things and going a little bit more with the Newton meters on the torque. If that makes a difference, then
If it works, it works.
it works. Then I would leave it alone. The only thing is that noise only started after I tried to boost the car. Fingers crossed we're going to put it back together. What did that boost at?
That was 1 bar.
That's 1 bar.
1 bar. And that was only half throttle there, wasn't it?
Not even.
One bar again.
That's boosting. Right, what's the AFRs doing?
Happy now, isn't it?
Uh-huh. Just keep an eye on the AFRs.
What's went off there?
No, it's because it's deceleration. Actually,